You are listening to the Proverbs for Living a Fulfilling Life podcast. Hi, this is your host, Dr. Rick Upchurch. These Proverbs come from a lifetime of experience. My goal in sharing them with you is to help you avoid some of life's pitfalls and hopefully give you some tools to live a more fulfilling life. I hope you will ponder the proverb in this episode and take away something that you can use. Episode 7, Perseverance. No one wants to be labeled a quitter, but there are times when everyone has felt the pull to quit. It could be a job, a friendship, a project, an educational program, even a marriage. If you're human, you have felt the temptation to quit. When stress builds to the point that it affects your life, it is normal to wonder if it's worth continuing. And when we feel threatened, either physically or emotionally, it's normal to want to remove yourself from that situation. After all, that's where the phrase fight or flight came from, or the phrase take this job and shove it. These are all carryover responses prompted by the hormones secreted by the amygdala in your brain. Or if you've plateaued at a level where you just aren't feeling the same joy you once did, there's a very real temptation to quit. In fact, this factor alone has been the end of many marriages and has caused most of the job turnover in our society. Now, sometimes quitting is the right answer, but most of the time, real victory and growth take place when you are willing to persevere, to stick with it in spite of the temptation to quit. The saying, winners never quit and quitters never win, is truer than we would like to admit. But the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence. The same problems that you are experiencing now will follow you wherever you go, perhaps in a different form, but no less challenging. Let's look at the 3 examples I mentioned earlier. First is the person who is experiencing major stress. Regardless of where the stress is originating, if it is significant enough, it may be affecting your sleep. It may be causing you to grind your teeth, bite your nails, or make you just really not pleasant to be around, lashing out in frustration at all those around you. The stress could be caused by deadlines or other expectations that you find challenging to meet. And while quitting may seem like a good option, you're soon going to find that every area of life is going to put you right back in the same situation. If you're constantly trying to avoid stress, you will never find peace in your life, and you will always think it's somebody else's fault. I'm sure you don't want to hear this, but if stress is your motivation for quitting, you need to consider finding someone to talk with who can help you dig down to the real source of your stress and begin to resolve those issues at the root level. Second is the person who feels threatened, either physically or emotionally, to quit. This situation is typical for those who are going through any physically demanding program. For instance, military boot camp, major diet program, etc. It can be connected to an abusive relationship. And while there are definite advantages to keep going when you're trying to meet a demanding physical goal, staying in an abusive relationship should be a deciding factor in stepping out of a relationship. Here again, it would be valuable to find someone to talk with who can help you dig down to the root of what you're experiencing and clarify the real issues. Third is a person who has lost his or her joy and is not feeling as connected as they once did. Again, not what you want to hear, but if you're changing jobs or marriages or relationships or anything for this reason alone, you are in for a pretty disappointing life. There are 2 aspects to consider as you work through this issue. First is that as you mature, you will discover that there are seasons to pretty much every aspect of life, with highs and lows. And we all go through these seasons because it's a natural part of the rhythm of life. It's when the lows hit that some will bail out on their commitments and quit. They turn that temporary low into a feeling of forever depression from which they feel they must escape. The second aspect has to do with how much we're looking for our satisfaction from outside of ourselves. versus how much of ourselves we're willing to bring into the situation. How much are we willing to invest in making the marriage better, the job better, our situation better? This all comes back to personal leadership that I've mentioned in another podcast. Angela Duckworth has completed a major study on what she calls grit, and I encourage you to look up her TED Talk. Grit combines passion with perseverance. Her results show that people with grit are more successful and more fulfilled. Her book, by the same title, uses research and multiple case studies to demonstrate that quitting undermines our ability to become our best and fulfill our potential. The more grit a person has, the more likely they are to succeed in life, and the happier they will be in the process. The 80s band, Wilson Phillips, advises, hold on for one more day. And that's sometimes what it takes. The willingness to hold on for one more day, to invest enough of yourself to rise above the stress or the challenge or the boredom to find your future. In the Bible, James says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, in chapter 1, verse 7. The inference I take from this passage is the determination to persevere instead of allowing yourself to be distracted and quit. So yes, in most cases, perseverance is the right choice, and I encourage you to persevere. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to this podcast and leave a comment. I love reading fan comments. In every case, the information in these Proverbs is merely the tip of the iceberg of information related to that specific topic. If you find that one or more of these particularly resonate with you, do a little research in the area, and I'm sure you will find more information that will help you. Don't hesitate to leave me a message. I'll be glad to help or point you in the right direction. May God bless you and strengthen you on your journey.